Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, and this week is Exploring More Layers number 16. And as you can see, I've got a really nice selection of my newest collage papers that I've made and a selection of paints. And I'm just going to take you through each item. This is a clay tool, of course, my China markers, and my trusty 3 different size paintbrushes, and my favorite brush that I like to use for the heavy gel gloss medium, and a nice sharp X-Acto knife, a pencil, white, black, and then I think I lift my palette here so you can take a better look. That's the real orange, the gray, and that turquoise that I've used in the last 2 videos. I'm also going to show you the manganese and the nickel azo gold that I end up using more than I first thought. Still trying to keep that simple palette. As you can see with the collage papers, there's one nice little red dotted piece. I don't think I end up using it, but I'm really liking these this transparent deli paper, along with my jelly-plated printed pieces. And then I just add some colors on at the end. That is, the black piece is a scrapbook paper that you get in a pad. I got it at Michael's. And of course, the geometric stencils. And I was pointing that out because that is the that special printed paper that you buy in small packages. It comes in so many bright colors. Origami paper, yes. So then right away I want to get to it, and I'm trying to start my pages differently each time, just so I get out of the same old, same old. So I start here with some thick lines, thick horizontal lines, using my painter's tool. This is an aluminum one. It's different from, I've tried the plastic, and that works well too. What I really like though, the line isn't exactly perfect. I do think that at times I'll want that, and then of course I put the paper right on top. And then I end up rolling it with my brayer anyway, just because I like the texture that the brayer makes, and it erases those brush strokes. I end up going for some subtle value differences here with the white against the Titan buff, or the neutral that you might call it. And I like at the top that when I rolled the brayer with black, well, some black got on it, so it sort of made some gray stains. And of course, impatience, not waiting it to dry, so I bring out my little hair dryer, which I keep right beside me on the left-hand side. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. It just depends what kind of thick paint or page that I'm creating. I'm really liking this nice soft gray, but this area, for some reason, another idea came into mind after I let it dry, as you can see. And then I do a sudden move, a bold move, by first adding some gray below, and then I take the black and I just fill in the whole thing. I think, as I recall, it was too many different values getting busy right from the beginning. And I was thinking of the high contrasted layering of the white with the stencils on a black background. So then I laid in a different sized gray band going across, and then scratched it out so you can see some of the light tone underneath. Because yes, I was planning where I wanted these circles to go. And then of course needing a little more drying time to speed this up. So right here you can see how many sections I do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So sometimes 6 works, sometimes 5, 7. It just depends how different they all are. But in the end, I take a few big changes that might surprise you, so stay to the end of this video. And please, if you really like this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe even share this video with some other creators. So I'm using the makeup sponge and I'm dabbing in. I'm experimenting with different whites. I think I still might need to use a different type of, oh, I don't know if it's zinc or what kind of white it is, but thicker, so that I can see the bottom left of those circles created a nice crisp edge, but the upper area lost it. But you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep going. And I end up changing this high contrasted area anyway. And this sponge was completely dry, so I do believe it's the paint itself. So I'm going to experiment with some different thicknesses of different brands of white paint. And then of course drying it again, because I'm really needing that to be nice and dry, because now I'm going to lay in a layer of a very thin transparent nickel azo gold. So I'm just testing it, making sure it's going to do what I want to do. So very little is needed here, and of course I'm using my big needle there to unclog the hole in the lid. And a little goes a long way, and I'm realizing, yes, I really need some of my yellow oxide just to add a little bit more. And then I don't go any further with any other colors for this palette. And I don't even know if I end up using the blue at all. So here comes the nickel azo, and I'm mixed with a little bit of the yellow oxide. And I'm liking the warmness that's happening. And then I remembered I've not used drips in a while. So I know it really works well on canvas and on cradle board or wood. It does work in the journal. I don't know, probably I just didn't have enough paint down. So it just ended up sort of dribbling. So I'm just adding some more, as you can see, and using that little, that water bottle is an eye cleaner, a leftover eye cleaner bottle. Then I decided, okay, we'll just use the dryer, because I don't want the drips to go too crazy. I just wanted some subtlety there. And if they do go farther than I want them, I'm just going to dry them up and leave the ones that I like. This is all about discernment. This is all about preference. And just staying present with your page. So the more I look at the gray in the bottom, I'm really liking that. And I don't know, I think a lot of it does get covered up, but you'll see what I use in the end. And it's a very different treatment. It just happened, so I went with it. And you'll see it's a really nice piece of collage paper that I think almost goes across the entire section there. And I do stop and pause a little bit. There it is here. Trying to decide, should it be narrower? Trying to think about the scale of this piece. But in the end, I just almost go all the way across. I'm not sure, I forget here, but that's okay. Oh yeah, I do. I go all the way across just because it just reminds me of just an imprint, the way the brayer used that paint and left it on the paper. And I do want the black on the bottom. I don't want that contrast catching the eye. And yes, moving it up. Yeah, so I end up gluing that in. And then, of course, once you make one move, you're going to respond to that move. And all of these choices that you may have planned in the beginning change and shift because of one move that you made with a large collage piece. You ended up liking that and covering up something else, and that's the cool thing about these abstract pages. So I'm really liking that warmness, and I just carry down that nickel azo gold through this. This is a piece of newsprint paper, and again, my best collage papers are just leftover paint, roll it on with a brayer, sometimes using different colors. So this is the brighter orange, and I'm really liking, I don't know if I would have added a little more yellow in it or to brighten it up. We'll see what I end up doing. And my row of dots being close to the black is working. Now I'm deciding, do I want to leave a peak or do I want it to overlap on the black right away? And then, of course, I've got my little pieces that I've collected. And keeping those to the side, just seeing what speaks. And that piece so far is working. If I wanted to continue with this similar, that might work. I like it higher better because it's not covering too much of the circles. But then I end up pushing those circles back a bit by lessening the contrast. I think I end up warming them up a little bit. That's a nice piece. That is that parchment tracing paper. So it's a little more waxy and a little more transparent. So I love just placing these collage papers around and just seeing which speaks. Oh, so I decided I have enough circles and roundness, so let's put in some different stripes. Interesting, very interesting. I'm really liking it further up because of all the white between the different lines. That's neat. So yes, and I don't think I end up doing that, but there's so many different ways I could have went. All right. So I'm liking that. Deciding, so if you're not sure about, do I want it all black again? Do I want to leave it white? And I decided, no, it's not working. I'm going to leave it mostly the lighter value and just put in a different way, my circles that So repeating the circle concept. I'm liking that. I love how I'm changing my mind. Yes, I'm liking both. So who knows? And I'm liking it mostly empty in the top. So let's see what I end up doing. Those are a smaller size than the circles below. That's really nice too. See, I'm talking with my hand, so I'm weighing out my. So then, so I end up removing, veiling with a neutral and bringing down that upper area and taking the heaviness away from the contrasting black background with the geometric circles and leaving a little bit of that orange peeping through, I hope. Of course, in hindsight now, I wish I would have just scraped through with the end of the paintbrush just to reveal a little tiny bit of that orange underneath. But I'm going with the gray, going with that nice gradation, going from sort of a medium to light. So the eye's moving upward. Okay, so bringing in the black Posco marker now that the lower area is fully dry. And then I'm going, wow, I'm really feeling this area. And I'm ending up with just some symbols, sort of reminding me of some things. Different symbols. It's reminding me of like the rock or the, what are those? Different symbols found on the rocks, petroglyphs or something like that. It had a very earthy feel to it. So then I sort of go with it and just put in a few tiny symbols. I don't want to overdo it. And these just come to mind as to some of the symbols that I've seen, and because I'm always looking for interesting shapes. So these are real, just nice hand-drawn shapes. I think they look really cool, and they're just in threes. So then that reminded me, okay, how can I show some more time, or ancient, sort of give some more time to this. The passing of time is what I mean. So I love this stencil for the crackling effect and the cracks that it makes. And it is so different from the rest of the shapes that are on this page. Yes. And while still leaving a lot of the light space in between. So it's light and moving the eye up because it's even lighter the further you go up. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Nice. And while I was looking at that stencil, I saw some other interesting shapes in there that reminded me of petroglyph markings or whatever you want to call them. Now I could have added this nice strip, put it up high, but I think it's just too busy. And then because of what I put down with that stencil, I feel this is quite nice, but it's very light compared to the rest of it. So let's see, I might need something at the very top. And I don't know, I don't think I end up using those. But I do put a little something more in that top because it's so opposite to what's going on. It looks like it's too different, I feel. So I'm looking for a nice transparent piece of collage, putting something down, thinking of that cruciform composition, or should I just leave it? So then I decide the circles are too overwhelming. I'm not liking the high contrast. So this is what you can do, is you can just add a very thin, I didn't need any more orange on there. So once I pushed those back, it just relieved a lot of things. And this interesting shape, pentagon shape, no, it's not a pentagon shape, it is just a rhombus shape kind of deal. Just seemed to go well, and it looked better overlapping into the upper area. So just bringing the eye central, and I don't think I need any more in that area. So I'm just playing around, grabbing different pieces. It's really great to have a whole, some kind of selection, not too much. And then I find, no, it's sort of, I might put that down at the bottom. Yep, so I end up putting that down, and then I'm putting a layer of the mixed media over the marker area just for smudging or just doing something while I'm thinking of my next move. So the top is looking really nice and open, but so different from the heavy bottom. What will we do? Adding a nice thin line, which is a really nice contrast. And now moving the eye up. Yes, I forgot about this. The pencil just grabs enough of your eye and giving it enough weight while still being much airier than the bottom sections. And I'm just putting that for a little bit of asymmetry. And then again, I've done this before. So this is the very subtle things that we're doing. So that means we're coming to the end of this page. We're past halfway, and I'm really liking that. It breaks up the line, but it's the same value as the background, but thicker. So now I'm playing with that top. Here comes up my circle again, which I have not ended up using yet because it's very large, but lines would have worked, maybe white. So I'm going with the white because I'm really liking that subtle difference that it'll make in just one singular shape in the top. Beautiful. And the thickness of it really contrasts nicely with the other thinner layers that are below, or underneath is what I mean. Okay. So I chose to use the green tape this time. It's lately it's giving me less of a hassle when I'm peeling it off, depending if I gesso or not. And nope, I don't know why I made that move. I just, more circles. What about? Should I do that or should I just leave it? Keep it simple. And as you can see, it's like, don't do that, because it's just way too busy. So I end up just leaving that alone. I don't know why I did that. Let's see what I end up doing. I may end up rubbing that out. Yes. Going over it with the brayer, removing it somewhat. Not bad. Still thinking of that cruciform composition. All right, trying to bring out that shape. It's a little heavy down there, but not bad. Let's see if I end up lifting some of that up. Okay, some of it's there. So I'm really liking how you can see. Yes, I'm showing the five sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's see what I end up doing next. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a spatter up at the top, but not too much, just barely any. And adding some below. So in hindsight, thinking about those circles, I'm thinking, well, this works as well. It covers them, but maybe lifting a little bit more black off of that area on each side of that central shape, I think would have worked better. But when we're in the moment, who knows what we're doing. And so I do decide to just add a little pop of the blue and adding a little bit of that neutral to it. so it's not standing out too much, just like a little jewel in this whole thing. And drawing off the layers. And now I'm starting to think about removing the tape as I warm it up. And so leave a comment, Did you like what I did with the central, the black area? Now I think I wish I left a little more of the circles showing, but just very subtly. But I think this works. And anytime if you're not sure and you want to lift off some more, don't forget about using some alcohol in to spray it around, or putting it on a rag or a J cloth, and then you can remove and lift some. But you have to be careful not to press too hard and lift the layers below. So here comes the reveal. I'm really loving these crisp edges. And a very interesting piece, very different from what I've done before. And I think this week, just exploring more layers. So remember, there's no real mistakes in anything. It was just as a decision. Maybe I end up, oh yeah, good. So what I end up doing, and so by covering those circles more than what I have, because I'm watching the video, adding that little bit of sparkle of orange, those dots, that energy, I think really added to that, added a little bit of magic to it. So as I'm looking at my piece, I'm thinking, am I finished? And of course, I'll write number 16 underneath with a pencil, and I write the date. And I hope you like this page, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.